I am very happy to welcome you today. This time I am in Germany, and it is a great honor for me today. Because to be honest with you, just 6 weeks ago, I couldn't even imagine that I would be going live like this and presenting the company Vieda to you today. I am Elvira Las. In a couple of weeks, I will turn 50. And I have been in the network marketing industry for many years, having been a top leader in many companies. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, actually, I'd rather say fortunately, 6 weeks ago, I made what I believe is the best decision of my life. And I left the company where I was a top leader, where I was the first in Germany to earn the car bonus. But at some point, there comes a situation when you feel like that's it, you've hit the ceiling, there's no more growth, and you really start wanting something new. And that something new happened to me. I came to Vida unintentionally. A lot of network marketers, when they're experienced and successful, they choose the company where they want to grow. Vieda came into my life by chance, and I got to know it, studied it as I worked. And the more I immersed myself in the idea of Vida, honestly, with each passing day, I was more and more amazed and inspired. It's the products, and it's also the compensation plan that rewards us. But speaking for myself, I can say one thing. I always say I have this saying, which I didn't come up with myself. I heard it once, that a business that doesn't make money is just a hobby. At some point, I realized the company I was with before had become just a hobby for me. I wasn't making any money there anymore. I was just going with the flow, just coasting along. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. Some money would come in, and that was it. There was no excitement anymore. There was no spark in my eyes, no desire to build a team. But when I came here, as the people who have known me for a long time said, God, finally you've come back to life. Finally, you're back to being the person we know you as. And being a network entrepreneur is first and foremost a profession. And I know, I'm more than sure that right now there are people sitting on the other side of the screen who might not be all that happy in their current project. And many of them are afraid to leave one company and join another because they think, what will people around you think? Well, damn, I'll lose face. Guys, I want to share with you the thought that struck me when I left my company. Network marketing is first and foremost a profession. It's a profession. Just like being a chef, a doctor, a driver, or anything else. Sometimes German words will slip in, so be prepared for that. And let's say a chef in a restaurant isn't entirely comfortable with the management or with the team they work with, or in the end, they just don't like the menu they have to cook from. They stay in their profession, but they simply change restaurants or go work somewhere else, right? Exactly. It's the same with doctors. It's the same with seamstresses or with kindergarten teachers. Guys, if they don't like their job, they just change if they don't like their workplace, but they're in the right profession. They simply change their place of work. It's the same in the network marketing industry. If you're not satisfied with the company you're currently with as a network entrepreneur, you stay in your profession, but you have the chance to change companies. And that's exactly what I did 6 weeks ago. I made the decision to move to another project.
My name is Maxim Troino. I am 48 years old and I'm originally from sunny Ukraine. And I'd like to tell you a little about the city where I was born, because everyone who is born in the city already has their future occupation predetermined for them once they enter adulthood. Because it's a city of metallurgists and miners Kryvyi, whose main enterprise is a huge metallurgical plant. 5 mining and processing plants, 45 mines, my friends. Today, only 10 are still operating. But when I was coming of age, there were a huge number of mines in operation, and naturally, where did I go to study? That's right, to the Metallurgical Academy of Ukraine. After graduating in the year 2000 in the city of Dnepropetrovsk, I was assigned back to my hometown and, of course, ended up at the Krivorishtal plant in the renowned open hearth shop. By profession, I was a young specialist, a steel pourer by trade. It was very difficult. It was extremely hard to work there. But you know, the open heart shop really tempers you, it strengthens your spirit, your will, and it also instills in you the desire to achieve something greater. And in quite a short period of time, I became one of the youngest managers at the Krivorishtal plant, becoming deputy head of the open heart shop at just 28 years old. I had everything. There was recognition, there was good money in the form of a salary, but my friends, I was not truly myself. I wasn't present in my own life because I didn't see my family, I didn't see my children growing up. I belonged entirely to my employer. I lived at the plant, and in my experience working as an employee, there was a period 45 days, a stretch of my life 45 days without a single day off that I spent at Krivorishtal during the repair of the open heart furnace. And I realized that I was starting to drift away from my family, from my children, from my wife, that I didn't belong to myself, and that I urgently needed to change something in my life. Thanks to my wife, who had been developing herself in the MLM industry since 1998 and who consistently provided me with information about this amazing industry, its opportunities, and its prospects. In 2011, I made a life-changing decision for myself. I left my salary job and fully immersed myself in the partnership business in the MLM industry. Since 2011, I began developing myself in this industry together with my wife. What is very important, my friends, of course, is that the most significant teacher in my life was without a doubt my wife, who had vast experience in developing within this industry. But I realized for myself that this is a very serious business. I determined that here, if you are not a professional, you will not achieve great results. And from the very first steps, I began to learn. I learned from professionals in this industry who, at that time, had already earned more than $1 million. And it was precisely their knowledge, their skills, their approach to this business that later allowed us as well to earn more than $1 million in this industry. And this is our third project together, the company Viaido. In the previous two, we reached the highest achievements. We were advisors to the company president in both the first and the second company. From the last company, before we joined the Viaido project, we had a huge partner network, more than 46,000 partners in over 50 countries around the world. In other words, we are practitioners. We know how to work in the field, how to work with people face to face, looking them in the eye, because more than once we have reached that highest peak. The very summit we are now striving for, with Viaido leading our team along with us. As of today, we live in two countries. These are Serbia and Turkey. Back in 2014, we left Ukraine for Europe. We lived in Spain for 6 years. And today we are living the dream life that so many people aspire to. We are travelers, we are yachtsmen, we are divers. To date, we have visited 53 countries, and in many of them, we've been dozens of times. That's right. And we sincerely believe and always say that the main task of a leader, the most important task, is to travel. Because travel changes and transforms us, and we showcase our lifestyle. The most important thing is that this business model I'm telling you about today, my friends, dear guests, only this business model can travel with you where you wake up today in China, tomorrow in Malaysia, the day after tomorrow somewhere else. And your business travels with you. You work and are always inside this business. At the same time, you can work for an hour or two today, and spend the rest of the time relaxing. Tomorrow you might work 4 or 5 hours to boost the development of your international business and then relax again. So my friends, today I want to talk to you about the company Viada because we joined this company consciously, regardless of the fact that in the previous project we were the second highest earners. And in our experience, we have achieved results where we earned truly enormous amounts of money. Our highest monthly payout in the previous project was 156,000 euros, my friends. That's right. But unfortunately, our paths diverged from the company and its management. That's how it was. We realized that we wanted more, that we wanted growth. Unfortunately, the company entered a period of stagnation and gradual internal collapse because the company and its management lacked the capacity for growth, and we made a fateful decision. But what is very important, my friends, is that before we started as business partners in the company Viaido, we spent a long time testing the company's products on ourselves, waiting for the company's management to certify and legalize the business in the European countries where we are now actively developing. But what is also very important if you are looking at the MLM industry today, if you are choosing a partner to build a strategy for decades to come, I simply recommend, my friends, that you thoroughly examine the company Viaido, because it is here that the main criteria for choosing a company to ensure your success are met. Of course, first and foremost, it is a very high quality product. And in our family, in our circle, there are a huge number of results from using our products. Every month, we buy our company's products with great pleasure. Not because we have to, not because the marketing plan requires it. In fact, we don't have to buy anything at all. We do it because we love this product. Next, the second thing is, of course, the leadership. My friends, the leadership that has long since proven itself that today is guiding the proper development of our company, our joint business, certifying and legalizing new countries and preparing new ground for our global expansion. And then, of course, the third thing is the compensation system, an amazing compensation system. I have always said and will continue to say, my friends, that in the MLM market, every product-based company has very high quality products, absolutely every one of them. But not every company, my dear friends, has a really great marketing plan that allows you to achieve a good residual income right from the start. And this is very important, my friends, because the MLM industry, the MLM business is a long-term game for the long haul. And in order to achieve your first results, you need to work for a certain period of time, a fairly long one, as our experience shows. But in the company Vieda, right from the start, even on your very first day, if you have ambition, if you're serious about this business, if you are ready to take action, to learn and to act again, you can start earning from day one. Next, the fourth point is the time factor. It's very important when you enter the business, and you can join any company, absolutely any, whether it's 5, 10, or 30 years old, and succeed. The only question is how much you have to go through, what stage, how much time and effort you need to invest in order to succeed in a company that has long since anchored itself in the market, that everyone already knows about, and that is no longer new to people. A company whose products have already been tried by a huge number of people. And then there's another scenario when you join a new, rapidly developing brand that is both the developer and the manufacturer and is just now entering our markets. This means the Eurasian region, the customs union zones, the European zones, my friends, where we are legal, where we are certified, where we have a very high quality offering for the entire community. This is very important, my friend. And today, Vieda has transformed from just a startup into a very powerful player in the Eurasian market. And my friends, it has absolutely every opportunity and all the prerequisites to become one of the best MLM companies in the global market. And of course, the fifth criterion is the team, my friends. In our company, what we have gathered is, and I'm not afraid to say it, the cream of the MLM industry. These are people who know how to build this business, who lead thousands, even tens of thousands of partners, who not only show the direction, but walk this path themselves, achieve results themselves, and by their own example, show that everything is possible, my friends, absolutely everything. And today, just 3 years after the founding of Vieda and its entry into the Eurasian market, we have an enormous number of results, truly enormous. We have hundreds of partners who are earning tens, 30, even $50,000. In just 3 years, we have $5 millionaires in the company, my friends. Just last year, the company awarded 54 cars as part of the car bonus program. And these results, my friends, speak for themselves.
First of all, I'd like to tell you about myself, and I really want to share how I came to the company, how I joined the association. I actually live in the city of Kursk. I'm a mother. I have 2 children, 4 grandchildren, actually 3 grandsons and 1 granddaughter. I've been in network marketing for quite a long time. By education, I'm a teacher, and for many years I worked as the head of a kindergarten. Then I ended up in the MLM industry, and it happened completely unexpectedly, spontaneously. Back then, there was nothing yet. That was in 1996. Well, basically, that was the last century, right? And at that time, I really needed to start taking care of myself. I wanted to always be young, always beautiful. So I joined the cosmetics company that, well, practically turned my life and destiny upside down. And after some time, when I qualified there and reached the director level, my income increased tenfold compared to what I earned as the head of the kindergarten. And I handed in my resignation letter. People tapped their temples at me and said, she must be crazy. Nobody leaves positions like that. Even though it wasn't a very high position, it was still quite interesting. That's how it was. And I realized that I no longer wanted to stay in one place. I didn't want to grow old in the kindergarten. And that's how my world, my MLM business began. It started off in a very interesting way. During this time, I visited different places, different cities, both in my country and abroad. I established myself as a leader of teams. I had large organizations, and I worked with 4 network marketing companies. Basically, I'm an entrepreneur, and during this time, a lot of changes have happened in my life. Some personal ambitions have emerged. I became interested in achieving something because I realized that everything in this world depends on me, on my attitude. And it so happened that over all these years, I would sometimes return to traditional business, opening private Montessori kindergartens, for example, children's centers in the city of Kursk. That was interesting. And well, during my work, I noticed that I go through certain cycles, 7-year cycles. Sometimes I'm in MLM, sometimes I'm in traditional business. Well, I only worked as an employee at the very beginning, but at the same time, I can say that basically I've tried everything. I've tried all types of activities. I have an understanding of them. And today I realize, I know, and I want to share with the whole world that there is nothing better than network marketing. But network marketing also comes in different forms. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I ended up in the Vieda Association by chance. By nature, I'm a person who makes decisions very quickly, gets inspired, and knows how to achieve goals. So when I saw this amazing device called the Activator, I started to study it. I started to look into it. I went to the YouTube channel and I began searching for what other products this company offers. In short, I got so carried away. I was struck by the people so full of energy with such open faces, young and vibrant. And this inspired me so much, attracted me so strongly that I decided to find a good mentor for myself, even though, in fact, I hadn't planned to work for the company. It was on February 13th when I came to Vieda. And about a week before that, I found Kirill Kovyazin. I'm very glad about that, truly happy. My intuition didn't let me down. And I realized that this is the kind of mentor who really works with heart, puts everything into what he does and loves his work. And for me, it was like some pieces of the puzzle just really came together. And I started working in the association. In the first month, I achieved the director qualification, and well, my income amounted to more than 350,000 rubles as of today. Of course, that's still not enough for me because I came here from a high income, an income of more than 500,000 rubles. But I realized and felt that there are truly tremendous prospects here. Just absolutely tremendous. You know, when I first joined, I didn't understand the marketing plan and didn't really study it, but later I delved into it. I heard the results, and I realized that this is, of course, very, very interesting, very promising. And China itself has always attracted me very, very much.
I got acquainted with the company 4 months ago in July of this year, and I was purposefully looking for a company for myself at the age of 42. I live in Tyumen. Let me repeat, my name is Gnezdelev Evgeny. I am a happy husband, father of 3 wonderful children, and I have managed to do a lot in my life. This includes building a career in large Russian international and transnational corporations. I built a significant career in sales departments, starting as a simple sales representative and rising to a manager who rank among the top 3 best employees of a major American company in Russia, responsible for several regions of the Russian Federation. I had dozens of people reporting to me, business trips abroad, company cars, and many, many other things. But at a certain point, I realized that I was exchanging my energy, my experience, my knowledge, and my dedication to my job as an employee for something that was not equal in return, because I would leave for work while my kids were still asleep and come back when they were already asleep. And by the time I was not even 30, yet 27 years old, I was already so tired and drained, like a squeezed lemon, that I didn't even want the good money I was earning. Well, I mean, I did want it, but I didn't even have time to spend it, and it wasn't enough. And still, you know, when you don't feel happy or fulfilled, but more like a driven horse because you're kind of the boss, but you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it was at that moment that I attended a presentation by a network marketing company. It was December 2010, and back then I never thought this would become such a serious line of work for me, that I would eventually live a successful career, quit my job after some time, focus solely on this, and become a successful MLM entrepreneur. If someone had told me about this 14 years ago, I definitely wouldn't have believed it. But you know, now I can say for sure, after almost 14 years of working in the MLM industry, that it was one of the best decisions of my life. So if you came to this presentation today with a hint of skepticism, that's perfectly normal. Just take the time to understand, look into it, stay until the end, and don't dismiss this opportunity, because I've had plenty of situations in my life where I brushed things off and let my ego get in the way. But as soon as I started to look at what tools were out there to live differently, well, of course, it didn't just happen by itself. A good friend of mine invited me to this presentation, someone I trusted completely and knew would never get involved in anything questionable. I hope that you too were invited by friends, relatives, or good acquaintances whom you trust, people who genuinely want the best for you. You know, in 13 and a half years at my previous company, Vieda is my second company. I earned over $1 million in net profit and built a huge international team. I understand how this business is built, what the cause and effect relationships are, why some people come here and become successful, and why others do not achieve success, right? In other words, there are a lot of factors involved. And when I was searching for myself for various reasons, I won't go into too much detail here, but first and foremost, everything has its own time and place, right? And lately, I couldn't speak from the stage with the same confidence as I did 10, 12, or 13 years ago, saying that if you follow me into this company, you'll be able to earn just as much and just as quickly, or even surpass me in income. And lately, I just couldn't say that with confidence anymore, knowing that the likelihood of that happening isn't very high. So I was looking for a company where it would be possible to achieve outstanding results by doing simple and straightforward actions with a product that a huge number of people need, a product that doesn't require lengthy explanations or a lot of convincing. And the company that would come into my life, the one I was searching for this summer, needed, on the one hand, not to be a startup, but to already be firmly established with international expansion, at least in the Russian Federation market and beyond. Since our company is international, and we'll talk about that today, and to have tremendous growth potential. And, you know, those who seek will find. Today, I am working with this company and achieving pretty good results. I'll talk more about that a bit later.
Greetings, friends. My name is Elvira Davletova, and I live in the city of Surgut in the Khanty-Mansi Autonomous Okrug. I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years now. By the way, I became an entrepreneur only thanks to the network marketing industry, even though I didn't realize at the time that network marketing could change a person and completely transform my work and my entire life. And I am very grateful that I once came across this line of work. Of course, later on, I also started a traditional business. I have been the head of a real estate agency in the city of Surgut for over 15 years. And I am a successful insurance agent. I have two wonderful daughters, one grandson and a husband who works at Surgut Neftegaz. And I really love what used to be my hobby, but now my hobby has become my main occupation because I am already at the rank of regional director, just a step away from becoming a national director. And I am the head of the Vida Association Service Center in Surgut. And all of this is thanks to our association, which I came across just about 5 months ago. Before that, I worked at another network marketing company, but at that time I was looking for new opportunities because I wasn't satisfied. The compensation didn't suit me. I was searching for opportunities. And then along my path, I received an offer and I made the decision. It was in October. So in November, I achieved the director qualification, December director, January director, February regional director. And at the end of February, I already submitted an application to open a service center because I wanted to ensure product delivery for my partners and, of course, to help my city and my region, so to speak, because through my service center, as of today, both Nefteyugansk and Khanty-Mansisk receive products. Today, our products were shipped via SDEC to Khanty-Mansisk, Nefteyugansk, Kogalim, Noyabrsk, and so on. The work is very interesting. It's all about working with people. Right now, I have 3 offices here in the service center. The girls are working, holding meetings, negotiations, and someone is even using the sauna in the office. So our work is really interesting, isn't it? And how great it is that the Vida Association has now been launched through the MLM industry.
All right, let me introduce myself. My name is Andrei Bobryshev. I live in Nizhny Novgorod. For the past 14 years, I have been working professionally in the MLM industry. What does it mean to work professionally? I don't just use products from network marketing companies, I actually generate income. The largest earnings in my professional business career have come specifically from the MLM business. In traditional business, I actually spent more money, so to speak. That's my personal story. But in network marketing, I earned quite substantial amounts. I've been working with our company for more than 2.5 years now. All right. I'm married and have 5 children, 3 sons and 2 daughters. So while I'm developing myself in different areas, and today I'm going to share an idea that is, well, truly $1 million idea. Why can I say that? Because, well, at least 2 partners in my organization have earned about $1 million during the time they've been working with the company. Dozens of partners have earned more than 100, even $200,000 during the time they've been with the company. That's why this really is a $1 million idea.
My name is Pavel Kolenok from the city of Kaliningrad. Let me briefly tell you a little about myself. Who am I? As was already mentioned in the promo, I really did work as an employee for 20 years. I also have quite an extensive track record. By education, I'm actually a musician, I'm a drummer. I played in professional bands, performed at the Opera Theater, even had that kind of experience, played in a military orchestra, served in the army under contract, and in the meantime, worked for 3 years as an operations duty officer in the Ministry of Emergency Situation. I also worked driving trucks and buses, did shift work, went fishing, and was a fisherman. And for the last 4 years, I worked as a driving instructor at a driving school teaching theory. So why am I telling you all this? It's because I have quite a rich background of working as an employee. But the whole time I was always looking for other options, somewhere else I could find some additional income. And one day I simply came to the realization that being an employee doesn't meet some of my needs. What do I mean by that? I mean that being an employee has its limits. There's a ceiling to how much you can earn. And most importantly, for me personally, the sharpest point about being employed was that if you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And of course, I was always looking toward business in some way. I thought that if you want to earn good money, you need to do business. But I didn't know how to do that. I didn't really have any financial education or experience in sales or anything like that. In other words, I was nowhere near that world. But by fate or by God's will, 2 years ago, I came across something called network marketing. Actually, not even 2 years ago, correction. It wasn't 2 years ago. It was a little over a year ago that I got acquainted with network, with one company. It was a different company. I won't name it now. There's no point in that. I was only there for a few months. And I'm grateful for that period because it introduced me to the concept of network marketing in general. And I realized that this is exactly where I would find positive answers to my questions, that after some time I could achieve residual income. That's when you can stop working, but the income keeps coming in. And in general, after delving deeper into network marketing, I realized that it is, well, I'm not afraid to use this word, a brilliant financial model. Although before that, I was extremely skeptical about network marketing. I'm actually quite a skeptical person by nature, pretty thoughtful. I have to check and double check everything myself. Now, please tell Metut a plus sign in the chat if, like me, you were also skeptical about network marketing and didn't really believe in it. Or maybe there are people here and or someone invited you, you came to listen to this podcast and you have that kind of attitude. You think that network marketing is something, well, not very serious. Are there people like that here? I'm just curious. People just like I was myself not so long ago. Yes, guys, those of you who are already partners, who are already in network marketing, but used to be skeptical about it too. If you've had that experience, put a plus in the chat. Well, I think that's a pretty standard situation. Many people, in fact, all of us live under the influence of stereotypes. And it often happens that someone tried something somewhere, it didn't quite work out, or they encountered a low quality product or an unreliable company, something unserious, and that left a bad impression, which they then project onto the entire industry. And, I really like this comparison. Network marketing is a very, very broad concept. There's this concept called public catering, right? But you'll agree, there are, Michelin-starred restaurants, there are simpler restaurants, there are coffee shops, there are places like well, Chocoladnica, right? And then there's some terrible dive on the outskirts of a remote town where instead of napkins, they have toilet paper, excuse me, right? Do you feel the difference? And yet it's all public catering. But at the same time, we don't lump everything together. We understand that there are different kinds of establishments, right? It's the same with network marketing. A real network company, when the company is serious, stable, and offers a quality product, is always a success story for anyone who decides to work with them. So after getting acquainted with network marketing well, the marketing plan of that company didn't suit me. After all, I came to network marketing for the money. I'm not going to hide that fact here. I think that's normal. I mean, I was specifically looking for money. I was looking for income. And in fact, I found it. And it so happened that last summer I got acquainted with the company Vida. I didn't get involved in the process right away. I got to know the company. That's the best way to put it. I ordered some products for myself, these glasses, which I'm wearing now, and the insoles. That was the first thing I got to know. We'll talk about that a bit later. And I got my first results. Gradually, I started to understand the information, gradually figure out the marketing plan. I was under a lot of pressure. At that time, I was working as an instructor and working 12 to 14 hours a day. But even with all that, I still found time to somehow figure things out, to try to understand. And by autumn, I started to get more deeply involved in the process. I began to get my first partners. At the beginning of November, I went to Moscow for our company Vida's 2-day forum. And I was honestly in a kind of, positive shock there. After all, such large-scale events really open up your understanding. Because for 2 whole days, I was just getting exhaustive information with the business broken down for me to the smallest detail. I simply realized what kind of company this is and the scale of it all. And when I got back to Kaliningrad, I just quit my job. And, I had actually planned this. I understood that it would probably be wiser, to first increase my income a bit in network marketing with the company, and then make the switch like once those incomes are about equal. So there's some balance, and only then leave my job and fully immerse myself. But I was so impressed. I got so deeply involved and understood everything. And I saw the opportunities, specifically the opportunities that Vida as a company offers, that I realized there was no point in wasting 12 hours a day because the prospects here are greater. One day I just sat down and asked myself, Pavel, what is it that you really want? If you want success, if you want big paychecks, if you want the kind of life, the one I dream about with some good money, then this option, working as a partner with Vida, is the way to go. A regular job just doesn't give me that. So why should I give all my prime time to a regular job? It was ambitious. It was probably risky, but I did it. I left my regular job and fully immersed myself in the Vida business. And honestly, I don't regret it because in the very first month, I earned an income of 150,000. That's when I started to feel a sense of confidence and stability. My family calmed down a bit because even though my family does support me, of course, there were still moments of tension with my wife since she understood the risk. But I'm grateful to her for simply believing in me. I said, please, Nadusha, trust me. I know what I'm doing. Right. So as a result, in the 5th month of my active work, I achieved the director qualification and reached an income of 300,000. That's my short story. So why did I decide to go into detail about certain moments? I'm exactly the kind of person who came from being an employee. When I talk to people, I often hear them say, well, of course, everyone there is so successful because they're all network marketers or they're all from business or from somewhere else. So they're all, lucky, successful, experienced, and that's why they have such success. I tell them, look, I'm just an ordinary person, so to speak. I'm not a network marketer. I've never worked in sales. I haven't run a business. I'm purely someone who came from being an employee, just an employee. That's why I wanted to tell you a bit more about this. And what I want to say is that with desire and determination, anyone can achieve success. Greetings to everyone. Let's start with this slide. Let me briefly introduce myself, just a couple of words about who I am. My name is Konstantin and my last name is Gavrilenko. I'm originally from the city of Naberezhny Chelny. I was born here. I live here now. Let's just sit down for a bit. I was born here. I live here. I'm married. I have 3 children all with the same wife. And basically all my life, I dreamed of being an auto mechanic. That is, I never had any thoughts about entrepreneurship or MLM at all, not even a little bit, So I dream of being an auto mechanic. And in fact, my dream actually came true. I got a job at the silicate brick factory in Naberezhny Chelny through some connections. And I worked there as a mechanic of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. Then I became a mechanic and later the head of the garage. And the next position I was supposed to be appointed to was chief engineer. That's how it was. And basically everything was heading in that direction. And life was going well. Everything was fine. No issues at all. But then a situation happened in the country and we started getting paid with the products of the factory where we worked. Accordingly, many people around my age went through this as well. Let me know if you also receive your salary in the products of the factory where you work here. And so we started getting paid that way too. So once again, I worked at a brick factory, so I was paid in bricks. I had two options on what to do with this brick. I even tried frying them, steaming them, it didn't work. So my only options were either to sell them to resellers at a lower price or somehow sell them myself. That's it. So, and since I had access to transportation, I decided, well, let me just try selling them myself, see how it goes. So my work schedule looked something like this. Yeah. So I would get up at 5 in the morning. By 6, I'd be at work. I'd work until 7 in the evening. Then we'd load up the trucks and drive 200 or 300 kilometers somewhere out to the villages, sell the bricks there, and get back home around 2 or 3 in the morning.
In the morning already, right? I'd get up at 5, go to work by 6, and that kind of routine was constant for me. But at least I managed to sell my own bricks, sold bricks for the drivers, then started buying from the factory, and that turned into my business. After some time, I got scales like these. So what was I supposed to do? Either wait for a chief engineer position or, well, start my own company. I chose the second option. I started my own company, and starting from 2002, we took a leading position in the market. That is about 90% of the houses built in Tatarstan, Naberezhny Chelny, yes, they were made of brick. All of that was built through me. Just like that, I was the one delivering bricks there. There was no other way. So that was my business, in short, right? And then in 2012, I left that business and moved into the MLM field. We'll talk about that a bit later, in case anyone has any preconceptions about MLM or anything like that. Actually, I didn't know I was getting into MLM, right? It was just that a friend of mine, my partner from the brick business, told me, Kostya, there's this thing. Some friends are using it. We should get into it. I said, get lost with your thing that we should get into, okay? So I told him off. Since he was my friend, I had the right to do that. But after some time, he came up to me again and said 3 things, 3 questions, 3 statements. He said, I figured it out. There's money in it. We should give it a try. And for me, the key point was that he had figured it out. Because honestly, I'm lazy. I don't want to figure things out myself. And if there's a person, someone I trust, and they figured it out, then my next simple question is, what needs to be done? That's it. He tells me, you need this amount of money to buy the franchise, and then we move forward. That's how I got acquainted with my first network marketing company, where I worked for 12 years and reached the very top. I was a member of the strategic council, a member of the traditional council, and I even got a BMW X7 as part of the car bonus program, by the way. Here in the picture, you can see us receiving it, right? And basically, everything would have been fine. Everything would have been fine if at some point the company hadn't changed its direction, hadn't shifted its focus, and people in my team stopped making money. And actually, for network marketing, it has a really damaging effect, right? And even though I still had some money, the people in my team didn't. And for me, the key point is that people should be earning, that people should be making money. So I started thinking, I started searching. That took, well, about 2 years, roughly speaking, right? And it turned out that in July, as a matter of fact, in July, I was actually offered a partnership with a very large and influential Chinese organization or association to assist them in promoting their product specifically on the Russian market. I'll say right away, I never considered product-based companies as a business for myself. Really never, not at all. Once again, this is my second network marketing company. The first network company I was with for 12 years. And it was in the service sector, right? And I never considered the product business. Why? There are 2 reasons, and they're very simple. The first reason is that in my circle, there weren't any people in the product business who earned more than I did in that company. There just weren't any. Simply put, there just weren't. That's all. And if accordingly there aren't any, then I believe it's impossible to make money there. That's it. Why would I need that? And the second reason is that when you visit these friends, most likely you see warehouses in their homes. There are product stocks here, here, and here. And that's true because in most companies, there are certain requirements that you have to meet, like mandatory monthly purchases of some product for yourself. And this is exactly what leads to overstocking and turning apartments into warehouses. I didn't like either option, the first one, where there's no money, or the second one, where my place becomes a warehouse. That's why I didn't consider them. But during a conversation with my partner, my friend who made me the offer, he explained some simple things to me again, right? And so I decided to take a spot and start working with this company. And now, through the lens of my own experience, this was on July 12th or 13th, 2024, to the best of my recollection, and after 9 months of working with this association, I will now proceed to share with you today's presentation.
International Director Kirill Karyazin, at your service. What is this qualification? What is this status? I will show you the exact numbers. I'm an entrepreneur, a happy husband, and together with my wife, Natalie, we have 4 children. I've been working professionally in network marketing since 2013. So this is my 12th year in the business. An international team and a wide first line, that's the key to success in network marketing, and I continue to expand it. I've been working with the VIDA Association for 10 months now, since June 16, 2024. By my 5th month in the business, I reached the top qualification international director, and my income exceeded $10,000. Accordingly, for the most recent period year, by the 5th month, my income was over $15,000. So it's not just a one-time result, but a steadily growing one. This result comes from a large number, in fact, I would even say a huge number of people who are truly earning decent money. I'll tell you more about this later. I've received 2 car bonuses in the network marketing industry over the course of my professional career. The VIDA Association is not my first company. In other words, I have a solid track record behind me, a quality, interesting, and varied journey. But nevertheless, my second car bonus already from the association was worth $47,000, which I received here in the 5th month. You can find me online under the same nickname, Kirill Karyazin. That's a brief mini presentation.
Let me tell you about myself. I've been in the network marketing business for a long time. We have now been involved in network marketing for more than 25 years, and everything good that I have in my life has happened thanks to a network marketing company. I've traveled abroad many times, more than 100 times. I have a home, and not just a home in general. I have everything. Everything is good. And all of this is thanks to network marketing, because I graduated from 2 institutes, the law faculty and the history faculty of Altai State University in Brno, till I ended up in business, fortunately for me, at a fairly young age. And my life took a completely different direction. And in general, I became a professional network marketer. I've worked for myself as an entrepreneur my whole life. Network marketing is pure entrepreneurship, let me tell you.
Talk to me the day after tomorrow. That's it. Well, please take a look at this presentation. There, Elnura, take a look. And I kind of say, all right, fine, send it over, just so you leave me alone already. So she sent it to me, and I immediately forgot about it, right? Then she goes, well, come on, send it to me. Then I thought, all right, I'll check it out once. So I went in, and Elnura was there calmly saying hello, and everyone was chatting, blah, blah, blah. I look at the clock well at the time and see that the webinar is 45 minutes long. I thought, come on, 45 minutes. What is he even going to tell me? What does he want to teach? So basically, forget it, not interested. And I kept forgetting about it. And basically, she kept sending it to me over and over. Just watch it. Well, take a look. Just watch it. Just watch it. And in the end, it was a Sunday. I remember that, though I don't remember the exact date. And she says to me, listen, there's going to be a Zoom now. I'm asking you, please, if you respect me, watch the webinar right now so I can see you there. But to be honest with you, it was like water wearing away stone finally, even in my hard-headed, reinforced concrete helmet. A little hole had formed. And by then, I was just getting curious. It became a matter of personal interest, really. Well, something like that. I thought, all right, what is this? She managed to gather 80 people. What is that even about? So I thought, let me take a look. Honestly, it wouldn't hurt me. So I opened up my phone, turned it on, and I was just walking around the kitchen, doing my own things. After 15 minutes, my ear started turning toward that broadcast, and then I literally sat down and my jaw dropped. I watched the whole thing from start to finish. There were questions, answers, everything. And from that very moment, I immediately called her and told her exactly how it was without holding anything back. I said, Liliana, I can only tell you one thing over the past several decades. This is truly the best marketing plan I have ever seen in my entire life. Honestly, this is the best invention the Chinese have ever made. Now I understand why the company is #1 in the world in terms of growth rate. I remember exactly how I said that. Now I understand why you earned 6 million. Now I understand why Andrei and Elnuran, Andrei Bobryshev was on my team. I taught him how to work and wiped his nose in network marketing, so to speak. As we like to joke in a friendly way, I understand why now I'm not surprised why there's such a break from all the usual patterns and everything else. I've figured out what their success is about. Because here, a symbiosis has formed, a unique symbiosis, and it's unlikely that such companies will appear in the coming decades. This is the only company that has found a compromise between the distributors and the company itself. This isn't a company with a knee-bending gene, This isn't a company full of hidden pitfalls. This is a company that, honestly, guys, just found a compromise. Look, man, girl, woman, man, here's the deal. We'll pay you this much money, but at the same time, we'll also earn this much in return. That's what and right then, at that very moment, instantly, just like that, guys, in a split second, my mind just flipped. It was as if everything changed in an instant and I suddenly saw things from a completely new perspective. That's it. I immediately fell in love with Vieda. Well, fell in love, you know what I mean? It's just that suddenly, all the pieces fell into place for me.